RSI, and of course, that spot that we'll keep on talking about, that spot at the major. Big series coming up. Can't wait to see how this one transpires.
Oh, it's all on the line for these two. Their entire stage 2 now comes down to this game. You know, the loser will have, you know, the chance of LCQ, but beyond that, it's about qualifying here and now. Nobody wants to go into that gauntlet. You know, this is what your stage 2 can be measured on, essentially. And both of these two are coming in here having had tough games yesterday. There's no two ways about it. Virtus.pro and BDS, they've played against two of the best teams in the world at the minute, I think. I genuinely believe that. You know, there's certainly room for these two to step up as well, though, and show the quality that they've got. We're going to kick things off on Oregon. Blitz and Monty, an unusual pair of bands, but the two shields are going to go by the wayside. We're going to have no rushes in the through bunker, I wouldn't have thought. It's maybe going to be a steady-paced game. Kaid and Valkyrie being our defenders that go.
Yeah, definitely no one seeing the blitz coming out. The Monty, at least you can kind of understand, but we had that spell 18 months ago where there are a lot of trains running through the basement of Oregon, Tim. That blitz really was the driving force for that for a number of teams, but haven't seen too much of it lately, so the ban does somewhat surprise. But away it goes, two shields offline, and otherwise ban's looking pretty staple. The Kai, because locking down things like meeting room hatch with those electro claws forces you to bring along the Thatcher or the Maverick. At least here you're left with some options to play around from there, and the Valkyrie really needs no real description. We're starting things off down in the basement, and really, Tim, it's only as we've just loaded in that I've realised I don't think I've cast Oregon yet since we started the stage again, so it feels really weird to be coming back onto a map that I don't think I've touched for about 4 months.
Yeah, it is a little while, but, you know, what better map to have, you know, if you've got to come back after a break, Oregon's really the one to do it on, because it is one of our oldest competitive maps now in its current form. There haven't been many changes. We had the small rework that allowed you up freezer stairs, but that was a good while ago now. So Oregon pretty default for a start here, and I think that's good for the game, because it's going to allow both of these teams to get in, get comfortable quickly, I would expect, and show us their best, which is what we want out of both of them. Nello is going to be playing underneath. He's going to be playing around security. He's reinforced kitchen as well, so that signals that he's going to be trying to stick underneath. He's there to try and prevent too much of a push coming on through double window. He'll have nitro in hand. He can deny that plant from... Oh, no, he doesn't. He's had bulletproof camera instead, so it does limit his vertical denial, but with the shotgun, he can still work the verticals. But look at this, Mowgli coming in quickly. He's moving rapidly to try and clear Nello, kitchen and security out, but Mowgli has had a difficult couple of weeks, and we're hoping to see a little bit better from him today.
Absolutely that, and I think you're seeing very standard starting play here from most teams who will try and attack from small tower side. You know, I think back to MNM whenever they attack, interestingly, as we'll see in a bit. Uses normally leading the charge on the sledge, pushing in from small tower and across. Here it's Mowgli taking out the similar role, just obviously with no sledge on side. It's down to him on the Iana with those nades in back pocket to send them skywards or tucked in towards certain hidey corners where sometimes you will find defenders sat. But it feels like this entirety of the ground floor has now been cleared out. Wolves have done what they needed to do inside about 75 seconds, and all attention can now turn down towards the basement. I'm looking here at this double stack on Freezer, though, from MNM. They are ready for someone to swing in here.
Yeah, it's been a fairly gentle start so far. 1 minute 30 into the round, still 5 versus 5. MNM dropping themselves back, which isn't too unusual at this point of the round. Just get yourself back and just prevent too much pressure from mounting on anybody trying to hold up on that top floor. Nello, for example, just dropping back. Going to give Freezer stairs up and allow them to push on down. But 1 minute 10 left to go. Wolves, they need to start finding some kills pretty soon.
They do. I mean, ultimately, I think it's the end of the world. They can get down to about 30 seconds here and be in a spot to suddenly make a drop and an all-in execute. That's Wolves' style, is prep and then all of a sudden all flood the site at once. Again, we've seen it so many times on maps like Club that I'm not going to be surprised if we see that being their go-to style here on Oregon as well. The only concern is that you lose one player when it comes around to the execute. You've lost tabs on one player and suddenly they shut everything down. The same way Tyrant's just done there, has marched up and found out P4 before he can really put the beast to too much good use. Deadshot's still on the upstairs as well, so MNM forcing a broken engagement from Wolves here by taking isolated gunfights, pushing into them, and not letting this round play out on Wolves' timeline.
Yep, 4 versus 3 now in favour of MNM. No real map control for Wolves. They're going to have to rely on possibly hatch drops or just sort of swinging doorways, moving in through this soft wall. MNM looking pretty comfortable with 15 seconds left to go. It's going to need one of those heroes players to come out from Wolves, really. There we go. Bibu manages to go in and get one, get two. There's the hero player that they were looking for. Plant is also going down from Bibu. He's got Deadshot on the cover. Can he hold on? Sprays one down in highway, but no, shut down from the bunker. There goes Bibu. And MNM managed to hold on. Wolves, they made a real effort of it towards the round, mostly spearheaded by Bibu, but MNM, they were ready. They had their feet planted, and they would not be moved.
I just love how they themselves reacted, as I mentioned, at about that 40-second mark. Rather than sitting static and saying, you know what? Our style is hold these spots, have good crossfires set up. They actively sent a couple of their players out looking for gunfights against Wolves. And sure, they lost one player in the process, but they brought down two. Then in a 4 versus 3, MNM are pretty much guaranteed to be able to win the round as long as they can reset to previous positions. But whilst they were slightly off and expecting and anticipating an attack from elsewhere, that was where you saw Bibu come slipping in up through Laundry, get himself into a great spot to pick up a couple of kills. The round looks almost winnable, but MNM do drag it back over the line. Really can't fault either side there. Really good play from both of them. Bibu, the man of the moment, but MNM still take the round.
Yeah, a solid start from both sides. Mowgli, we mentioned, coming in, not wanting to, you know, put too much of a spotlight on one player, too much pressure. At the end of the day, there's lots of ways to support the team, but Mowgli taking that entry death again, first one to go down. You know, it's something that we have to keep an eye on realistically, because it was something I noticed yesterday as well in the game, was a lot of opening deaths, and it's just leaving Wolves in those 4v5s, and they're always sort of fighting on the back foot, so we'll see how that progresses as the game goes on. Round 2 then gets underway. It's going to be Dorms this time that MNM try to hold on to. No major surprise if they're successful here. That's where the choice comes in as to where that tertiary site will be. We've got a couple of pre-prepared verticals looking underneath plant spot, underneath the wall that is likely to be breached. Just allowing a lot of work to be done from Zulu Classroom underneath if MNM can keep somebody active down there. But I would expect Wolves to shut that down if they try to play with anybody down there consistently.
Mowgli, if nothing else, is consistent, right? Yesterday they played 24 rounds and he was involved in 14 of the entry engagements, going 7-7 overall. So net even, but a player of his caliber, you'd hope to be seen coming away really with at least 10 of those 14 in the back pocket. But you are coming up against players, as we saw yesterday, like Pasha, like Joystick, like Dan, who were just consistently putting him in the ground whenever he tried to take too much space. I like that he's the space created for the team, but I'm with you. Do want to see a little bit more of a reserve playstyle when it comes to taking those entry fights, make it more advantageous for yourself, as sometimes he is a little bit too far ahead of the rest of his team.
P4 manages to take down Tyrant, so a better round start from Wolves all around. Doesn't matter really who is getting them, but getting that entry is big. Deadshot follows it up as well. Headshot onto Nath, leaving us now 5 versus 3, and Wolves are sitting pretty here in round 2, making a real go of this attack so far. Solotov just going to be forced back onto white stairs. He's keen, he's eager, he wants that challenge onto Yellow Bus, but just can't find his man. Nello holding that tight angle as well through the keeper barricade there. MNM at this point very static. There's all they can really do is sit and wait. 5 versus 3 it is for Wolves, and they've got all the time in the world to build this attack now.
Absolutely, and I mean, really there, if you're wondering why Solotov is swinging onto that bottom of white window, you can't sit on site in a 3 versus 5 and expect everything to go well. So they were really keen to try and gain something back, even if it meant a little bit of risk, but they've got to play out this 3v5. We've already found one. Uses on the jump out a satellite window there, gets one for himself, and then immediately is straight back into Classroom. So now Wolves have to respect that he's on the downstairs and can flank them at any time. He's just added a whole new dimension to this round and can stop them getting the wall opened up. Beautiful stuff from him, and what a time to strike. MNM, I'm loving their disruptive play so far. It's a quick 2K step across, almost for Nello, but can't find the second man in Mowgli. A 2v3 ensues, and they're pushed in behind the flashes. Bibu's in, once again causing absolute chaos, and Yuzus has got it all to do. I mentioned you would hate to be in a 3v5, and they've just realized why. He finds one, but Mowgli's there for the trade. Wolves get round 2.
That That is the round that we wanted to see from Mowgli. Basically has won the round for Wolves there. Nello swings through that rotation at the top of white, gets one, very nearly gets two, but no, Mowgli snaps across, manages to find that shot, put in the diffuser down as well, does an absolute ton of work for his team in there. So a great round from him, and hopefully something that we're going to see continue through. Usus was unlucky there. MNM had a real opportunity for the Solis underneath to just dictate the rest of that round. Shoots off the hard breach from the wall on the pre-prepared verticals, has the opportunity maybe for a little flank up armory stairs or to hold that plant spot from underneath. It was great play from Usus, but the players inside of sight, Nello Solotov just couldn't quite hold on. They just needed to give him that extra 20-30 seconds to push Wolves further towards desperation. But Wolves, they weren't panicked. They got the job done. They take round two. That's one each. And we move into round three. It's going to be another attempt at dorms for MNM.
It is, yeah, and unsurprising, they want to try and crack this one again. It's, again, those two primary sites, the third one being that you step off in towards dining and kitchen or in towards meeting and kitchen. Always keen to see where teams like to gravitate towards. On that one, MNM no doubt have history, and we'll see if we do need that third site in that second quarter. But if Wolves can keep things competitive, I doubt we'll have to see that tertiary site at any point. Bibu, once again here, getting onto that Ying as well. We saw it in the previous round. Unsurprising, you see it for a repeat of the site. So that's, imagine, the two operators you'll see him playing on in this game. That Ying, when it comes around to attacking top floor, because you don't really need the Hibana too much. You've got the Thermite, for example, for the walk-in wardrobe wall. On the downstairs, when you do need hatch control, that's where you'll see him playing on the Hibana instead.
You've got to assume that closer attention is going to be paid to that downstairs this time. Usus is this time on the Fenrir rather than the Solis. Tyrant on the Oryx is going to be the one likely to be stalking around on that bottom floor. They've left the wall soft this time, so Nello going to be playing aggressively. We've seen it done a couple of times. Kendrew springs to mind, playing on that wall with the shotgun and just making it very, very difficult for anybody to push inside a closet. And interestingly, the couple of Capcam traps on the Kids Dorm's window there, I think aimed towards maybe a little bit of caution over a potential Amaru. We see that in through the window occasionally, and that's certainly one way to protect against it.
Absolutely is, yeah. I mean, looking at the squaring up here as well, you've got Bibi looking to work his way solo upside tower. Has the ability to get things opened up with that hard breach gadget in back pocket as well, while the rest of the team is, with the Thermite on side, really, you've got to be focusing on towards getting up that double wall opened up inside a walk-in. So he's in a spot here where actually forget about trying to work his way down through attic, instead just working his way more towards the window. Has to respect that someone can, of course, pop up, though, on towards highway and get the dome onto him through the window, so he's got to be careful in terms of where he plays himself, but it's also pressure being exerted onto MNM, who could be fearful of him charging in at any given time. But look at this, Tim. Solotov is working his way over and could do some real damage here if he catches him out.
Yeah, we've seen this a few times from defenders. Get themselves sort of positioned in small tower and then look to aggress from that side. For the time being, Solotov is going to drop himself down and just move away from that position. So maybe not too keen to stick it, but he's going to catch him on white stairs. 100% P4 manages to get one just before that for the opener, but then it's everything going in the direction of MNM. Heartbeats are left behind as the kills come raining in, and that's going to be MNM taking themselves round three.
It is, yeah, beautiful stuff as well. And again, when it comes down to it, MNM are the ones exploding out on the defense. They're not sitting there and letting Wolves execute. I commented on this in round one, but that has been Wolves' strength as a team. They will set themselves up for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and then suddenly every single player in perfect sync tends to flood in the site, overwhelm, and just cause absolute chaos in the enemy ranks. Whereas here, MNM are disrupting that before Wolves get the chance. To me, it looks like they've really sat and done a bit of prep work here against Wolves. They know what to expect, and so far are playing it absolutely beautifully. If they can come out of this half 4-2, it feels like it could even be a 5-1 with how well they've been playing it. It will come down to Wolves really mixing things up here and keeping the Marshmallows guessing.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame for Wolves as well. They've had a good couple of attempts. I'm thinking particularly back to round one. Bibu really got in there and swung what was looking like a difficult round for them to a 2v2. Chance to put the diffuser down. So Wolves are doing the right things, getting themselves into the right positions, but just unable to finish a couple of those rounds off. So definitely a hard-fought thing so far. Very close affair, which I'm sure will continue. But as you say, MNM at the minute just looking looking that little bit of a cut above here and could run away with a couple more rounds. We're going to have immediate shaping up towards, I was going to say bunker, but BB's going to dip himself away instead, heading for Big Tower. Tyrant is currently positioned on those rear stage stairs. Might find himself coming into a challenge sooner rather than later.
May well do. Depends, of course, if we see that earlier aggression coming out of MNM, which has not been the go-to. Or if Wolves equally can pinch him down and get him shut out of the game, but so far, no. Starting things out in Big Tower, then it's Mowgli working his way down and through. At the inkling there might be someone sniffing around, and understandably so. Last time around it was 75 seconds until Wolves had the full map cleared out and could then start thinking about the downstairs. So just being mindful that there could still be one or two out on the roam. As we can see, thanks to the wonderful gift of outlines, that is not the case. And now they can start thinking about this downstairs with 2 minutes to play. Again, for me, the one thing to watch out for will be that aggressive push out of MNM. Wolves have really got to be ready for that. And truthfully, some players on their side have got to start hitting really big shots. Deadshot got put down for free, essentially, in the previous round. P4 had very little impact as well. You want to see them being ready for this push coming out of MNM and responding in kind.
BB looking to get the hatch, I would imagine. Going to move into meeting. As you say, Wolves now confident that they've got that top floor and mid floor locked down. That's all theirs, so they can start working towards site. They had that about the 2 minute mark, so they've 30 seconds have passed now without too much progress. We see the Toxic Babe going out from Nath right into the entrance into bunker, which is just going to hold Wolves back for a little bit longer. So that's now almost only a minute left on the clock, and not too much progress from Wolves just yet. No real control meaningfully downstairs. MNM still able to play pillars, still able to play stairs, still able to play wherever they want really down on this bottom floor.
Yeah, Tyrant again is just trying to poke his nose up towards the tower to try and find what he can, and it's Mowgli this time to strike. The patience is paying off for Wolves here, kind of sitting back and just letting MNM make the moves and then striking once the chaos begins. Much better from Wolves so far. Into this 4 versus 3. People, I think, surely must know there is someone close. Get the right gun out, my son. But by then, we've already seen the smoke dip away. Nath back inside of sight. Deadshot in a good spot with the cross on the go as well. MNM, we are starting to see the Wolves circle. They've already found one more, Tim.
Wolves have got everything they need here. Bibu's putting that case down. They've got crossfires established. Users tries to make a move, and boy, he does it. Gets one of pillars. Oh, so close. So close to Users, but cannot get it done as Shinka shuts him down. And what a swing was made by MNM at the end of that. It looked like they were sending it into the stands, but just couldn't get that connection they needed, and was shut down ultimately by Wolves. But a great round from Wolves. Excitement from Users aside. Wolves did everything right there. Got themselves into freezer, had bunker control, rear stage stairs, pushed well, got a couple of kills, took over pillars, really disrupted and dislodged MNM from all the positions that they were trying to hold. Nath was extremely lucky not to lose his life, as P4 just had the launcher out for the bees on the Grim, so just couldn't take his shot as Nath strafed across into highway, sort of stepping into no man's land really. But Wolves looked excellent in that round. 2-2, and we have got a serious matchup ahead of us here.
Again, for me, it's the back and forth between the two. It's that round there, I mentioned it at the time, Wolves were kind of hanging that little bit further back. They weren't really exposing themselves to a shallow push from the angles that MNM were holding. They just sat back, waited, and then once the chaos started and one direction got a pick, in this case it was Mowgli inside of blue, that was when everyone else struck and started making their moves, and it did go well. Almost down to a User's 3K clutch, well, 4K clutch at the end it would have been if it got the last man, but just a bit too much to do with not quite enough capability in that case, with the player coming in from bunker behind him as well to get that shut down at the very end. But I'm with you, Tim. Really proving to be a fantastic first map between the two.
Yeah, this is absolutely, it's mouth-watering. It's everything we wanted, and you know, let's not forget what's at stake here as P4 goes in and gets another entry for Wolves. They are absolutely electric in the first 30 seconds to a minute of these rounds. They're repeatedly putting themselves in an advantage. Only once now has MNM got the opening kill, and that was back in round 1. Something MNM need to deal with because the entry is going to eat at them.
Again, it's just these small changes in how they're playing out the round. Previously, it was Mowgli pushing into here solo by himself and looking to clear the top floor with drones at his feet. Here, they've had P4 join him on the flank, coming up Armory stairs, that clearly they didn't expect. They were looking in towards bedroom, expecting to meet only Mowgli, and that's it. So it was really good. Again, adaptation coming out of Wolves. It is this constant game of back and forth, small changes and iterations that is leading to massively different outcomes in these rounds.
Mowgli, well established up on the top floor along with Deadshot.
Can you say E, mate? Mowgli.
No, it's not really an E, though, is it? It's for me. It's more
Mowgli.
of an E.
You can do it, Mowgli.
Look at what letter is at the end of his name?
E.
An E.
Well, it's I.
Mowgli.
E. Yeah, Mowgli.
Mowgli.
E.
Tyrant then on the solo is just seeing if he can pick up any information. Scanner is going to give him absolutely nothing, but they know that they are being held from up above. We've got the Iana and Mowgli just straying down to the bottom of White Stairs there, looking to get aggressive as well. I want to see Wolves using this vertical pressure they've been able to gain. Users is able to shut down Mowgli pretty easily there, bringing us back to a 4v4. It's a minute left to go, and as I say, I don't feel like Wolves have really used that vertical too much to clear out Kitchen. MNM have been able to sort of sidestep around that pressure.
Well, it's exactly like playing into like Kitchen on Coastline, right? That's a real throwback there. It's forcing the defenders off site, which is what they've done, and are now in a spot where they might get pinched in by these perimeter rooms. Tyrant's being swung from two directions at once. Beautiful play. Isolate him away from sight and then get in on two different angles and shut him down. Great team. All yours, Tim Tam.
Okay.
That was my internet. Users is on a 4.
I was going to say Users gets a double, but Users makes it a triple, and that's 4 on the round. Could be an ace on the cards for him, but no, going to be shut down through the wall as Deadshot manages to get one, but will get no more, and Earth closes him down, and that is going to be the round this time for MNM, and this one continues to swing backwards and forwards. A 3-3 half is absolutely screaming here. I'll tell you what, 3-3 half, 6-6 regulation time, overtime is already screaming our names.
It is, and it feels like, ugh. If it gets to that point of overtime, God knows which way it goes. I don't even say it comes down to side as well, because both teams have just been, at least so far, dead even in this half. It's really hard to separate them, and we're expecting that second half to be exactly the same, but I'd love to see this one literally going all the way to start out the determination of that 13 guaranteed to be going to the major.
Absolute beauty from Users here, and you've got to ask
Sorry,
questions.
it was mostly through silence. That was on me.
There's 10 seconds left to go there, and Wolves, you've got to forgive a little bit Wolves' eagerness to get in and take the fight, because you know, they've got to make a move, they've got to get something going at that point. I feel like, as I said, they got vertical control really early in the round and forced MNM off site, but then never really used it. Out of, like, you know, if you've got control over kids' dorms, for example, you've got control over Kitchen pretty much. Get a couple of angles opened up, maybe think about a diffuser plant in behind the island in the middle to prevent any push through security. You can watch that from the hatch and through the soft floor anyway. You know, I just feel like Wolves had maybe other options than they explored there, but MNM did a good job, even when pushed off site, of making it difficult for them to do that, just holding tough positions that'd make them think twice about it. But MNM going very well so far, as are Wolves really. We've got two great teams going head-to-head fighting for that Atlanta major position here, and neither of them wants to let go of it.
Absolutely not. They do not. I mean, really, the player to highlight so far must be Users, right? Absolutely flying. 10-4 is how he's found himself. Sure, helped out by a quad kill and a 3K, one of which did lead to a round win, one a little less so. But he has been going pretty well for himself so far. Wonder who else will join him in terms of being the hero, because when we're looking at our other game tonight as well, BDS versus VP, great running shot in from Mowgli. But for me in that game, it's going to be the Shaiko versus Pasha show. Those two players have been absolutely on fire, and I can't wait to see it. Still, Mowgli in good control here. Nave holding off towards the one side, just waiting for someone to march on through. But at the minute, it's more behind him that he has to be concerned about. I don't think Wolves know that he's here. Now they're going to know.
Another entry kill for Wolves. Mowgli going well, 2 and 1 so far on the entry.
Beautiful.
2 kills in this round, 5 versus 3 now. But I was just going to say, I feel like Wolves probably will make more of a difference in this round. It looks like it could be heading in their direction. It's going to take a real effort from MNM here as they find themselves 2 versus 4. But for me, Wolves maybe just not making enough of an advantage out of the success they've had on the entry. Shinka is going to be getting the diffuser down, trying to fight back into sight. It's over for Tyrant as Mowgli gets a 3rd in the round. That's going to leave Wolves taking an even share of the spoils in that first half. But as I say, they've gone 5-1 on entry, Des, and only come away 3-3 on rounds. And I know the entry isn't everything, but you've got to think basically 5 of those rounds they've pretty much played 5 versus 4, and they've not. I'd be hoping that you can pick up a 4-2 half if you're going to dominate the entry so much. So Wolves, it's definitely something they need to look at is working that man advantage. They should have a little bit more opportunity to do that in the second half. If they can keep up picking the entries, as soon as you get a spare man on defence, it's a bit of a different ball game. You can send them out on the roam, send them on the flank, and really start to get under the skin of your opposition. Not always as clear cut to press that advantage on the attack.
Again, I'll come back to, even though they got the 5-1 entry, for me, so much of that was on the excellent ending round play coming out from MNM in a couple of those rounds. Came down to pushing into walls when they weren't expecting it and just fragmenting Wolves' playstyle that they are so used to benefiting from, where they'll all push in as a 4 or a 5 and just crush your defense and overwhelm you. They simply weren't given that opportunity very often by MNM. So shout out to the Marshmallows on that front. This second half going to be really interesting to see. We've got to see MNM be real solid on their attacking side here as well into Wolves' map pick where they are defending.
Got Nef bringing along the Brava. Going to be plenty for him to steal, plenty for those Clutch drones to work on. We've got the Capcan traps, we've got the Fenrir FNATs, we've got the goo mines, we've got all sorts going on there. So going to be a feast to be had for the Brava if the Solace of Bibu can't pick up those drones. Going to be extra important for him to be on that scanner and getting everything that he can. I imagine going to be playing underneath, similar fashion to that we saw from users. Nef managing to do some work with the Clutch drone there, but it does get picked up after grabbing a default cam.
The beauty is, of course, for Brava and pretty much all of our drone-based operators is more drones in back pocket, as well as the specialized ones that you've got. You've also got the standard drones to be able to use. So Nath really is giving so much information over to his team here. It's less about stealing gadgets and more about the sheer volume of information that he'll provide. But on the other side of things, as you're seeing on your screen now, there is a Solus looking to try and remove that utility game away from MNM and lead them into some really dark corners where they just aren't expecting to run into a player or two. Solotov almost being pokeballed out there, gets rid of dead shot, was hit by 2 impacts, so he's down to about 20 HP. One more and he's toast.
Mowgli just continuing to fight, does manage to finish off that kill. Much better game tonight for Mowgli than we saw yesterday, maybe. Users does pick up the Solace of Bibu, though, with a beautiful nade there, leaving us 4 versus 3 in favour of MNM until Tyrant gets dropped to the deck. Maybe able to be collected. Not sure of his position just yet, but it is still damage done. Mowgli trying to fight his way back down those race stage stairs. He knows there's a fight here to be taken, and his confidence is high at the minute. He goes to take it, but he shouldn't have done. Users is going to cut the man down. Tyrant has been collected, and that leaves MNM now 4 versus 2. P4 just being chipped at as he moves his way back to site.
Yeah, again, I was about to say it's the men of the moment as well. Yuzus and Mowgli coming face to face. Top fraggers on either side, but Yuzus just played it so passively there. Didn't want to push in too many further. And fundamentally comes out on top. 4v2 though, and 45 seconds to play, Tim. They are in a great spot here. My only concern is still you've got 3 players sat around the upstairs doing the drone work. I think this is more looking to go for kills here, find out where these last couple of players are and make this hit happen. Although realistically, a plant feels like a very viable option. It's just about making sure you've got tabs on where these last 2 players are.
Yeah, that's it. 30 seconds left to go. They really should, MNM, be able to work an opportunity here to get that diffuser down. Nath has it in hand. He's thinking about coming down the laundry stairs, but they need to be aware that P4 is just in behind that bomb chassis. You would expect that Nath's drone should have seen him. He is aimed left. Uses as he goes down here, so they know exactly where P4 is. Can't get the shutdown, though, on the first swing. Do get it done on the second. Nath maybe needs to think about that diffuser. It's 2 versus 1. Shinka, we know how clutch he can be. Surely not again, Des. Shinka, come comes away with the round in a minimum 1v2. I think it was possibly 1v3 at a point. Will anybody be able to stop him clutching rounds out that he has absolutely no business winning?
Oh, I think, honestly, it's just a bit of a bad call in the dying seconds of the round there from MNM. Not sure who would have made the call, but Nath was planting, and as soon as they lost the third man, I think they panicked and said, he's close, go for the kill, not realizing that he'd rounded in towards highway rather than going for the rotate itself. And Nath was then stuck a little bit like, well, I've caught the plant now, I've got to push for the kill, but it made it all too easy to take separated 1v1s. Watch here, Nath was getting the plant down here, but I think he panics a little bit, comes off it, and leaves this down to a couple of isolated 1v1s that, I mean, fundamentally, the last one hasn't even got to be taken by Shinka. But just a small momentary lapse of judgment, I think, by MNM has cost them that round. Well played by Shinka, but MNM, crucially there, I think made the critical mistake.
Yeah, I'd agree. Shinka just basically showing his experience in those situations. You know, how many times have we seen this year that he's just come away with big clutches like that, and it's just his decision making in those moments is always spot on. As you say, recognises 2 seconds left. I don't need to take this final fight. I can just force them to plant, you know, if at all, or I can play the clock and just keep myself alive. Absolutely beautiful play from Shinka as well to take full advantage of that mistake. 4 versus 3 then. It's going to be for Wolves as they get themselves a marginal advantage. Nobody's been ahead more than 1 round so far. It has been back and forth the whole way along. What I will say is this is now the first time that Wolves have been able to go into the lead. If they can get themselves 2 rounds back to back on defense, which MNM were unable to do, it's going to give them a huge advantage.
Absolutely. It's like poetry in motion, just waiting, peeks his head out and loses his life for it. Also, the shield taken away. Well dealt with by MNM to start the round. You spoke about wanting to see some of those entries swing back the other way or see Wolves capitalise, Tim. Well, MNM starting pretty well.
Yep, Solotov has got the last 2 rounds entry kills. Certainly the attackers being able to take the onus in the beginning of rounds here. But I could say much the same. They got the opening kill last time. They had lots of the round available to them with a man advantage, opportunity to put the diffuser down, but MNM still didn't get it done. So yes, they come away with the entry kill again, but I will say the same thing. It's all well and good getting the entry, getting the man advantage, but if you don't press the advantage, if you don't make them pay for it, then it is worth less. And that is the key now for MNM, is getting this round 1 even after that entry. You know, they've got the man advantage now. It's locking it down.
It is. And that is always going to be the challenge, right? I mean, look at the time and how it stung them last time around. There's 2 players swinging into a solo man on Armory Stairs here. Deadshot into a second as well. Oh, MNM have crumbled a little bit. Suddenly things are down to this 3 versus 3, all because of a little bit of chaos and confusion on Armory Stairs there. The players slightly out of sync, but Wolves 100% reading each other's minds here. Tyrant a little bit pinned. 1 swing comes on through. The second one is there as well. It's a 1-for-1. I feel like this only works in favor of the defenders. As you run this clock down more and more, the attackers have to start being like mindful of that diffuser. Good nade coming in below, but P4 has already moved away.
The thing is, that tells P4 that there's somebody, guess where, stood underneath him. So he's going to be waiting for this challenge to come around from users. P4 got to do better than that. He knows the man is going to push him there. Now leaves Deadshot all alone. 35 seconds left to go. 1v2 this time, MNM. This time you have to close this out. You cannot allow Deadshot to fight his way out of this corner you've backed him into. Absolutely.
Still doable. We've already seen 1 round go completely awry for MNM when they had the numbers advantage. Not forgetting last time was a 3 versus 1. Deadshot might be able to isolate out a 1v1 here. Sees 1 man, has got the shield, kind of help him out a little bit, gets the down and turns for the last, but that's to reload. He nearly put that on his backside behind him, has no idea the man's coming on through. Even Nello looks unsure and Deadshot finds the last one that he needs. Living up to his name, 2 beautiful shots coming out just to see this completely closed out. That's 2 rounds in a row that MNM sorely should have won, but instead find themselves on the losing end of.
Yeah, I'm not even going to say this, you know, I don't say this in a meme sort of way, Des. You know, MNM not always got the best history when it comes to those, you know, numbers advantage situations. I'm not even trying to make a joke here, genuinely.
It's true, their 1v3 record is terrible.
Yeah, 1v3, 1v2, they've lost both of them. You know, and there's a point where Yeah, it's a coincidence, but then there's a point where it's a problem, and it's a problem for MNM. It keeps happening. They have to start playing better in those situations, making better decisions, not giving those 1v1s to that sole defender. At first, it was Shinka. Now, it was Deadshot. And that is 2 rounds that MNM should have won. It should be 5-3 MNM, and I'm sure that's going to be a part of the topic of that tactical timeout. It has to be, what is going on here? We should be 2 rounds up. You know, as it is, Wolves are looking good on defense, and they're just gaining that confidence now that, you know what, they can get the entry kill, they can get us down to 1v3, 1v2, doesn't matter, we're still going to win it.
It's painful when you see this keep on happening, but even here, isolating out 2 separate 1v1s, and Nello looks a little bit unsure on how to push or challenge that fight in particular, but in a way, it was kind of the teammate going ahead of him there and taking the earlier 1 versus 1 that didn't give time to Nello to come in for the swing. And think about what we've been commenting and commending Wolves for over the last couple of rounds. It's been these 2v1s, the 3v1 swings, always making trades out of each other. Whereas MNM now 2 rounds in a row, we keep on ragging on for it, but it's a real serious issue, have not taken that situation to align and sync and make sure they're coming in for a swing together. It may well be what loses in the game unless, after that tactical timeout, they have made some serious changes to amend it coming into round 9.
Here we go then. It is round 9. It's going to be the tertiary site choice this time for Wolves. So surely if MNM can break this momentum, can break the couple of rounds they've been able to string together, you would expect it to be now. There's going to be an immediate fight over top floor. Solotov has got the entry kill on the last 2 rounds, picking up Mowgli in the last one and Deadshot the one before that. So Solotov looking to get aggressive towards Master. He wants himself a 3rd entry in a row, but it certainly hasn't been enough over the last couple of rounds to get those rounds going in MNM's favour. So let's see if they can get it this time, and if they do, can they? That's unfortunate timing. Keeper barricade goes out just as the nade bounces in, pings around it, and then takes it out. But no harm done to the Azami.
Yeah, Mowgli not going to be so bothered about patching that window up now that they've got rid of the 2 nades. Like, it's just whatever at this point. It was that fear they had, and we saw originally that Solotov was playing inside a bedroom to help clear the shield out of Trophy. Didn't have to use any of his nades, I don't believe, in that situation, so had the ability to rotate over to Satellite and let Yuzus worry about getting the bedroom walk-in wardrobe wall opened up, so that's now well good and done. They've got some control over the top floor and can start marching off walls, so they are being challenged from up above here. Maybe abandoning a little bit too much of the ground and just leaving Mowgli to reinforce, re-establish himself on the Azami and really start putting some threats in. Now being shot from deep inside the kitchen, they're just looking at each of the team, but no one's actually falling down. They're stepping inside the site, but Shinka, you just can't count him out. He's found 2, can't quite find the 3rd as we're stuck without barely ammo, I believe, and 2 more kills come flying back, make it 3. Naif taking this round into his own hands and bringing things nice and close. He gets 2 kills. He goes in for the plan. It's on Bibu and P4 to drag this one back.
Bibu a little bit stuck in his position as well. Very difficult to get back. Tyrant's just going to hold this cross. Bibu has to take a fight here. Cannot win it as Nave finds P4 elsewhere. Plant from Nave. Better round from MNM. And that was the one they needed. They took Wolves to the tertiary site and were able to take them out of it, get the plant down, get the round won. And MNM, they get themselves back into it after 2 tough rounds on the back of that tactical timeout. That might just give them a little bit of a springboard forward.
Yeah, I think that one really off the back of Naif was a big drag back into it. Shinka, once you got the 2nd and almost the 3rd, I was like, man, this round is falling by the wayside again. MNM's mental has just gone boom. But Naif really clawing it back with 3 kills and the plant, it's worth mentioning as well. Essentially the solo hero they needed in that round. They'd lost that one at 6 and 3. It feels almost impossible to come back. But here at 5 and 4, it's far from an impossibility.
Well, it's anybody's at this point. That was a real swing round, essentially. If Wolves get that, they're also not only on that point, but they've then got Laundry to go. They could go back to dorms. You know, it really starts opening up options for Wolves. But now it's a little bit back to the wall in terms of winning this. If they don't get Laundry locked down now, you start asking real questions. And MNM have given themselves that opportunity. But That being said, they were unable to win an attack on Dorms. They were unable to win an attack on Laundry, where they face their opposition right now. So MNM going to have to step it up a gear here. But that, you know, also being said, look on the opposite side of that. MNM 3v1 down in basement last time, 2v1 in Dorms. They are working these good situations. They're just not able to sort of finish them off and get the rewards.
And that's what you were looking for in this round, to bring it up to that 5-5 piece. Or for Wolves to potentially go to 6-4, move it up to match point and really force that back-to-back round win out of MNM that feels, given how this half has been going so far, that it could be tough. But only 3 rounds have been played. Still plenty of chances here in this fourth quarter to see things turn entirely on their head. This time around, that big focus is going to be on trying to get rid of Mowgli by the looks of it. Uses into a good spot once again to start challenging in. It's going to force Mowgli back and away, previously on the Azami, and looking to do damage around Games Room. This time around on the Legion, won't have the same pleasure of being able to repatch up those walls, so just simply wants nothing to do with it and gets out of dodge.
Wolves have still got a heavy presence outside of the site at the minute. At least 2 players up on this top floor, making it very, very difficult. We just see the heels of Mowgli run across there. He's being supported by Bibu, and MNM not yet able to find an answer. Wolves remaining slippery at this point. Mowgli is going to be full white flash, going to have to drop himself away, but needs to be careful. Users was over here as well, and Mowgli knows it. He goes for 2, but he can't find Tyron, who is there for the trade. 4 versus 4. Bibu somehow manages to wriggle his way all the way back to site. 1 minute 20, and I'd say that's a good job from the Wolves roam.
I think it is, yeah. You've got rid of users as well. The top fragger on the other side has been doing so much work for them. Like, you are not going to be complaining about seeing him off the board. Also loses both of those frag grenades in back pocket. I don't know if he'd use them, to be honest, but either way, he's down, he's out. Those nades are not being sent in towards Wolves any longer. And you exchange that for Mowgli, who, yes, has been having a good game, but he's been playing on the Legion. A lot of those traps already deployed down. 0 complaints on their side, I think. And now it's on to MNM with 50 seconds or so to play to string together a 4 versus 4 attack. This has been where they've crumbled. It's always been in the last 30 seconds or so, and we are getting dangerously close to it.
Well, this is it. You look at the previous rounds and you see even with a man advantage on attack, they've been unable to get it done. So at 4 versus 4, you're increasing that difficulty level effectively, or at least you would expect so. Solotop, he's going to move in, just needs to take out that gadget to begin with. Doesn't want to be trying to go in and challenge this blind here. Shinka now knows that he's going to be pushed. He doesn't have any utility to protect him now, really. And indeed, he's going to dip himself back away from elbow and just try to take the fight as it comes, but he can't find Solotop, who gets an important kill. Advantage MNM, 4 versus 2 as we come into the final 10 seconds. But here it goes. Deadshot fighting back. Can only find one. Shut down by Nello. Bibu swings into highway. P4 picks up a kill from beyond the grave. Bibu, can he hold on? 1 second to go? Yes, he can. Bibu with an unbelievable finish in exactly the same spot that Shinka did the same thing to them. MNM fall again.
It's exactly the same. It's like deja vu, Tim. Oh. They had a 3v1 at the end. Yes, one player was on their backside. Call it a 2v1 if you want to be generous, but yet
Call
again,
it what you want.
Again, they fit into a man advantage situation and just seen the round run away from them. 3 rounds in this half has gone that way. We could have been done and heading into Chalet with MNM up 1-0 if those 3 rounds hadn't gone that way. Once is a little bit funny to watch. 2 is a little bit sad, but 3, being honest, boys, it's just pain and depression.
Painful. It's just painful. For the MNM fans out there, I'm sure it's not an easy watch. Bibu, I mean, you know, credit to Bibu there. That was a tough situation. Just got himself an important kill with the kill with the Capcan traps as well was just perfectly timed to really level things up and give Bibu that opportunity. I think coming in there, just able to dip himself away. I think it just created that little bit of chaos for MNM. Couple of seconds, bang, you've got a death. Where's Bibu? And Bibu able to take full advantage, being the eye of the storm in that situation and holding on. So now Wolves only need to find one more. MNM, they're going to have to win 2 rounds in a row without mistake, something they haven't been able to do so far. They are also attacking onto one of those first choice sites. It's going to be Dorms.
Whew. At this point, like, do you assume the default is that MNM will throw a numbers advantage situation? Or do we still go on the spot of assuming they can do this when they get into a good situation late in the round. I mean, they started out strong already, an entry onto P4. Again, hardly the most serious operator to take off the board. A Capcan, his traps have already been deployed and used. You lose the C4 that would have been in back pocket otherwise. Yeah, and he definitely hadn't made good use of that one just yet. But I'll have to hold my tongue until we get to that last 30 seconds, Tim. I just feel like it's a curse to talk about anything any sooner.
This is it. You know, normally you'd be saying, right, good opportunity for MNM to build into the round here. But like you say, it's not about building into the round. It's not about getting to the point of the execute. MNM are sort of fine doing that. The problem is in those final 30, well, let's be honest, the problem's in the final 5 seconds of the round. And MNM just seemingly giving one after another away to Wolves. The next kill is going to be particularly important. Mowgli's playing this quite aggressively from pit at the minute. He's just looking for his opportunity through that peak hole that he's got, trying to get anything just to level things up here.
It is. It's trying to turn it back around in some way, shape or form. What I'm curious to see is how Wolves play it out. I mean, never mind. Capcan from beyond the grave. He's down on his backside, not out of the round just yet, but they'll know that he's run into that and have heard him go down as well. So they know there is some focus coming on this side of the map. They'll know that he'll get res back up. So there should be a little bit of attention here in towards bedroom side, as that is where 3 members of MNM are now stacked up and still trying to get this wall opened.
The thing is, for MNM, you've got to say that, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You can't be going down to Capcan traps 2 rounds in a row. Mowgli then has an easy pickup onto Nave, is able to block the door off, go to challenge another angle. Wolves, again, just in a great position now to keep on fighting. 4 versus 4, 35 seconds left to do. A ton of work for MNM.
I mean, really, that spot inside the pit's a great spot to be in. Deadshot's got the cross if we see someone try and step forward too aggressively. And there it is. Sartov is still looking for the wrong man and loses his life for it. Mowgli was the bait there, and they sold it so well. Tyrant steps in, finds one more for himself into a 3 versus 3. Please don't let it happen again, Tim.
MNM need to make this happen. As you can see, Wolves are happy to just hold positions at this point. Bibu, Deadshot, 1 apiece. Surely that's it. Nello, he's fighting back. 5 seconds left to go. 2 kills to find. Steps around the corner. Deadshot finds his shot. Shuts down Nello. Shuts down Oregon. And that's going to be Wolves 1 map to 0.
Once they got on that defensive side, Tim, really unleashed. I mean, picking up 3 attacking rounds on Oregon is already a pretty good feat. But on the defensive side, Wolves just took full control. I say full control of the rounds in terms of scoring, but in the rounds themselves, I would still argue that MNM really should have walked away with 3 of those, and this map could have been done at 7 and 4, but instead they choked out a few of those round ends. Full credit to Wolves, massive clutch from 2 or 3 of their players, but MNM are going to be kicking themselves, and I worry about the impact on mental going into our next map.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be